So, bonjour everybody. No, I don't speak French. I don't even speak Italian, and I'm half Italian, which is ridiculous. So, one of my regrets in life. Make sure my hair's okay. We all do it. Don't ever believe a YouTuber who says that they don't check their hair in the freaking camera, because they do. Anyway. So, I made a video recently about psychic attacks and what they are, etc. I've also just produced a video with some advice on what to do if you are also, experiencing the same thing. How to prevent it happening if you're a spiritual worker, things like that. So I suggest you watch that. But this video, again, it's not scripted. I'm going to speak about some events that I've experienced which have led me to become aware of certain aspects to life which maybe I probably wouldn't have been unless it had happened. They're a bit strange. I'm just letting you know that they're probably going to sound a little bit unbelievable depending on who you are. You might be somebody watching this who's been through the same thing. So that's the first thing I want to say, is that if anything I say in here sounds familiar, or if you've been through something that you think, oh my God, I can't tell anyone this because they literally will think I'm insane. And if you want to talk about it, get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to talk about it and to encourage you to share your experience. So the reason I wanted to share this is because, so I've said, oh, this is a psychic attack and here's some advice. Well, how the hell do I know all that? So the reason I know all that is basically because I've been there and I've done it, okay? It's not something I've learned about in a book. Yes, I did study metaphysics and energy work to understand it, and that's why I am aware of practical tools and how everything works on a scientific level, on a practical level now, thank God. It's not just some strange mystery that kind of takes over and does what it wants with me anymore. So I want to share these experiences with you for the reasons I just mentioned. So again, not in any chronological order because it isn't planned, and this is the first time I've made a video that really captures everything that I've experienced. And I'm probably going to leave some stuff out, to be honest. So I know that when I was about 2, I was going through something, and I know that that is the moment I left my body to escape a trauma. So I disconnected because I felt powerless, and I know that's when it started. And a lot of people do that. It's like you've got all these energy centers up here, and often if your body is going through something in the 3D that you're not very happy with and you literally can't get out of it, what you're going to do, you're going to go into your mind, aren't you? You're going to go anywhere but here, sort of thing. So that was my first connection. And then I was just I had a heightened awareness. So just to say as well that if you've heard of human design before, look into it. It's really interesting if you haven't. There's 12 energy centers referred to in human design. I only have 2 energy centers defined, which is my sacral and my throat. Okay, so my creativity and the sensuality and the energy and the you know, that whole thing, emotions and all that, and then my throat is very defined, and they linked as well, which is why I express so much talking and creativity and express the creativity and all that. But the thing is that all my other energy centers are totally white. They're not defined, which means that energy kind of, I can really kind of mirror people, and any energy that comes towards me, I know exactly where it's at, what it's about, what's up with it, what its intentions are. And I also reflect in myself, elevate the aspects of that energy, if it's good or bad, got a certain skill or whatever. So it's pretty hectic actually. because it's almost like I feel like a totally, like an empty vessel for energies all around me. And now that I've managed to ground that, I mean, I feel really glad about being who I am. Good job, right? And we all have our unique setup, which is exactly the way we're supposed to be. Fluffing with my hair again. That's just me. Sorry. So, other experiences I've had, lying in bed at night, falling asleep. It's all dark, and I was about 10. And when I looked into the darkness, I would see symbols kind of floating around in. It was always only in green or red. There was the snake. The snake was the only one that I could recognize as an actual thing, but it was a load of snakes, and then other symbols. Because I was too young at the time, I didn't really clock what the symbols were, and I can't remember clearly, but they would be like floating around the room, okay, symbols, and I would watch them while I fell asleep, and it was actually quite comforting. So that was that. I'm literally just going to jump around because it's not chronological. When I was, this is like maybe about 3 years ago only. I was meditating a lot. Something was going on, and I had a lot of time at home, and it was a very challenging time, and I defaulted to my spirituality again to help me through it. I was meditating a lot. I mean, I was like fully connected. It was insane. That was when I channeled a load of artwork and stuff. So anyway, I was going to sleep again. I didn't do drugs. I mean, no drugs, no drinking, no smoking, cigarettes even, no nothing. I saw a being. I actually wasn't facing it. I was facing the wall, and you know when you feel someone coming into the room, that's what I felt. But I felt 100% fine. I mean, I was surprised at how fine I felt. I actually felt like quite like happy and elated as soon as this thing came in. I was like, wow, why am I not scared right now? This is great. And it was a clown person. There was a man next to my bed dressed as a clown, but there was like a tribal vibe about it, and it lasted for a couple of minutes, and it was one of those where, you know, you close your eyes, rub your eyes. Am I seeing things? Let me refocus. Am I imagining hallucinating? Yeah, obviously, okay. But and then I researched tribal clown spirits, and I got straight to the Heyoka. So it was a message for me to study the Heyoka, and that's one of the and I did an artwork about that as well. So that's another experience. At that same time period, I was drawing reptilian beings. I've been drawing aliens, wow, for a long time. I started drawing aliens and having visions of greys. I was drawing very scientific stuff. I mean, I would just draw stuff that looked like organic crafts, like as in spacecrafts, and then symbols and information that I was drawing. I would just sit down and draw. I had no idea what the hell it was. I really didn't. Some of it sometimes looked like charts, you know. I've drawn different beings from different places of reptilians, not a nice vibe. But one of the experiences I had around that was, again, I was asleep. This was also about 3 years ago. And two beings came into my room. Both kind of bright greenish beings. They were light beings. They were kind of floaty. Very friendly, like totally fine, very friendly. And the one actually took my hand, I held out my hand, and it gave me this ball of energy. It was like, I think it was reminding me and telling me about the energy that I have in my hands. And I've drawn energy coming from hands for ever since I really got into drawing. I would draw balls of energy. If you look at my artwork, you'll see there's always like a lot of reference to like spheres in the hands and or in the mouth. You know, it's like this energy and flames coming from the hands, because our hands are like freaking powerful, right? And I know that my hands get really hot when I'm doing healing work and stuff like that, but this being gave me this ball of energy. It was like a perfect green sphere. Everything was just this bright green, and it was pulsating. And the pulsating of this sphere, this energy, I felt it going all the way up my arm, and it woke me up. So I was in a dream state. But in the dream state, everything looked exactly like it was in reality. So it was almost like my eyes were open, if that makes sense. So my room was the way it was. It was dark. The lighting coming through from the curtains was exactly where it was. So it felt like it was actually happening. Okay, that's that one. The other one was one I mentioned in the psychic attacks, video, was a long time ago when I was not in a good place. I was living in quite a remote place, and I had sleep paralysis. I've had sleep paralysis a few times. It's really horrible, 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 horrible. It's the most disempowering thing I've ever experienced. It's awful. And I woke up because I sensed something in my room. I was alone in the room, sleeping, and I woke up. I sensed something. I was in a deep state, and I felt a presence. Felt uncomfortable, and you know that feeling. You know, if you hear something in your room at night and it wakes you up, the first thing you want to do is open your eyes and sit up and have a look. I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move my fingers, my toes. I couldn't do a damn thing. So now I've been woken up in the middle of the night. I know there's something not very cool in my room, and I can't even look at it to see what it is, or I can't even do anything about it. The fear is just ridiculous. Okay, it's the worst fear ever. And then I realized there was two beings, because the one came round the top of my head. I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor at the time. It was very rough environment, proper rough. It's no wonder stuff was happening. It was just the whole environment. I mean, it's no wonder that was going on. But I felt pressure on my shoulders, kind of just holding me down. But the energy, they didn't really have to touch me much. The energy was just, God, so awful. And then there was another being at my feet. And I know this sounds weird, but they were holding onto my energy. Weren't holding onto my actual feet, but they were trying to. And the reason I know this is because this is exactly what it felt like, trying to suck my soul out of my body through my feet, like pulling and tugging at my feet. And I don't know how to describe it. I was fighting them off physically, but I wasn't moving. I was fighting in my imagination. I mean, I was kicking, I was going ape on these things. I had no idea what they looked like. I could just feel it was all purely you know, on another level. And eventually I fell asleep, because I got exhausted, and I fell asleep, but I fought hard, yeah. And the next morning, I actually totally forgot about it. I just woke up, totally forgot about it. And there was a guy that didn't live in the house, but he happened to be staying over that night. It's like a friend used to visit. There's like 6 of us staying in the house. And he was sleeping next door to my room. He was kind of like this is in South Africa. There was like an outside bit. It wasn't technically a room, you know, it was hot. He was sleeping on a mattress out there, and he said to me, and he looked pretty freaked out. I'm not gonna lie. He said to me, like, what was going on in your room last night, you know? And I'd totally forgotten about it. And then when he started telling me about it, he said it sounded like people were fighting in there, like scuffling and stuff going on. So, and he heard voices. He heard like voices of more than one person. So he was convinced that there were people in the room with me. Great. Another experience involving sleep paralysis was, this is when I was in my late teens. I don't know, I think it was about 20. It was about 20. Gosh, there's a period of my life that was just absolutely freaking insane, like such a blur. I was at my mum and my stepdad's years ago in Cape Town, and it was quite a big house, staircase. The house had a bit of an echoey vibe about it because it was a big house, okay. And I can actually still see this, like it happened yesterday. I can see it, like I could probably draw it and paint it exactly. Horrible feeling. But again, something came into my room. My door was closed, came into my room. And it's funny because I know exactly what it looked like, even though it didn't let me open my eyes. It was a tall, I say humanoid because it wasn't human, because it was too tall and too skinny, and it was kind of naked, and it had like, the rib cage was very defined, and it was kind of dangly looking. It was not nice looking at all. No hair, looked like a bit of a Voldemort vibe. That guy's face is creepy, okay? That's based on some real stuff as far as I'm concerned, as are the Dementors. There's definitely some real stuff going on. Long fingers, like horrible long fingers, came in, put its hand over my mouth, and I heard its voice saying, "Oh, you just try and scream for your mummy, but you can't scream now for your mummy, can you?" It was horrible. That's exactly what it said. It was horrible, kind of low, gruff voice. And it was very cold. Really hectic eyes, like black eyes. Never mind. I hope, yeah, do not watch this with children before going to sleep. And again, I couldn't move. I couldn't move a muscle. I couldn't open my eyes. I was scared. But again, it's almost like my eyes were open and I could see exactly what was going on. So if my eyes were open, I would have seen exactly the way, the lighting, the room, the way the room was laid out, everything, even though my eyes were closed. And then I managed to open my eyes and it ran down, and I jumped up out of bed and I went and I kind of just saw the shadow disappearing down the stairs. And it was so. And then, yeah, I obviously slept. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Put all the lights on. And actually, when I was staying in that same house, oh my gosh. When I was staying in that same house, I was in my room. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing a lot of automatic writing. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. I was also very young still. It's just like well over 20 years ago now. And I wrote, "Go outside now and look up at the sky." So this is in South Africa. The sky's very clear. You can see the damn stars there. I miss it so much. But I went outside. I had a big balcony, and I looked up and I saw again this red and green light. Was with the red and green? Let's look at that. And since this happened, yes, I faff with my hair a lot. Okay, it's my thing. Since this happened, I've realised other people have had the same experience across the world, but I had no idea at the time. So I went out and I was looking up at the stars. Okay, I'm looking up at the stars, looking up at the stars here. Right, okay, fine, let me do this. And then it looked like two of the stars started kind of moving and then pulsating brighter and brighter, one red and one green, and then they started like wobbling around really quickly, and then kind of did some bigger movement and then dropped straight down and then kind of shot off, leaving like, you know, when something moves really quickly, it leaves a streak of light, which obviously didn't last very long. So I was like, okay, I don't know what the hell that is, but that was interesting, you know. Another experience, I was with, I was staying with a boyfriend. I was living with a boyfriend at the time. He was a student, so I was staying in like a student house with him and another guy. And we were sleeping. I mean, I was old enough to, like, you know, be living with him and all that stuff. And at that time, I was drawing stuff alien-y, but not very obviously alien-y. I think I didn't even really think about it, to be honest. And he said that we were sleeping, and then the next morning, he actually woke up and saw me walking out the bedroom door with like a child alien holding its hand, walking out the door. Okay, don't know what that was. And it's quite funny because I actually miscarried with that guy. I had a spontaneous miscarriage with that guy. And that was pretty painful. It was quite weird. I just kind of went to the toilet, and then I was in a huge amount of pain. I didn't even realize I was pregnant. I mean, I was so irresponsible at the time. And I passed this. I mean, I had no idea what was going on, but I remember this huge mass came out of my body. I thought it was just like a really weird period. It's okay. This is a bit graphic. Sorry. But anyway, when I was older and I was researching, I realized that it was a spontaneous miscarriage. I didn't even know what the hell was going on. So I don't know how that's connected. But anyway, another experience I had when I was about 9, was I? 9, 7. Wow, we moved so much. I didn't even realize where I was at the time. But at this experience, I was my room was, it was like a converted balcony. So it was like a balcony that had been closed in. So it was all windows. Instead of it being open, you could look down. It was closed in with sliding windows and converted into a little room. Point being, my bed was right next to these massive windows. And I liked having the curtains open, actually. I think I just had net curtains on. The street lights were on outside. My room was dark. And again, I could see like tons of stars. Like I could just see so many stars. I loved it. But I was falling asleep. Everyone else had gone to bed. So we were in a flat and it was quiet. Everyone was sleeping. And 2 men came into my room. They were wearing suits and they had top hats on. Not like big top hats, like, you know, little, like those round ones with the rims, whatever. Yeah, and they literally just kind of stared at me for a good long while, and I was really scared, and I decided the best tactic was to not move and just to pretend I was fast asleep and not let on that I'd noticed them at all, which I did, which was hard because I was actually facing towards them. And they started looking through my stuff. I mean, I was a little girl. I don't know what the hell. I don't even know how they got in. They started looking through my stuff. It was actually, yeah, they were having, my room was tiny though. I didn't have a lot of place to look, but they were looking through my drawers like they were looking for something. And I was just scared, and it was very confusing because these guys were like really smartly dressed, and they were identical. I didn't see their faces. Their faces were kind of blacked out, but I knew that they were staring at me because they kind of leaned over me. But it was very creepy. Right? I can't believe I'm like not totally lost my marbles. But anyway, so they left, and I decided the best thing to do was to just go to sleep. And the only way I could get to sleep was to focus on the stars outside. So I just stared at the stars as hard as I could, and then eventually I fell asleep. And the next morning, I told my family, and they had a look everywhere. I mean, there was nothing. There was no sign of anyone having been into the house or anything like that at all. Very strange. So obviously now later, if I describe it, and from the pictures I've seen, it sounds like a bit of a Men in Black experience. Okay, I know it sounds very far-fetched. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm not making it up. I'm not being a weirdo. It's like if you told me, well, what did you do on the weekend? Oh, I went to Tesco and I bought some bread, and when I was 9, 2 men came into my room wearing suits. It's that basic, really. Other things, I was dating this guy, and there was something about our connection. There's a lot of stuff like this happened. Wow. We used to like going to the beach. We used to like going out at night into like the dunes and the beach and stuff. It was amazing. He was such a cool guy, man. And we went. We had a few weird experiences. We smoked a lot of weed at the time, a lot of strong weed. And the one night we were smoking, and he looked at me, and his face turned pretty demonic looking. And he felt it as well, but he kind of looked at me, and then I looked away because I felt like if I acknowledge its presence, it'll make it stronger. And it's quite funny because there were experiences in the flat that we were staying which I didn't realize until later when we spoke about it, that he was experiencing the same things. Things like doors just kind of closing on their own when we were the only 2 people in there. And also we would go and smoke sometimes on the beach, and we were with some other people, and we were inside this kind of little cave thing on the beach. There were a lot of boulders, and there was like this little opening of boulders underneath, and we were inside there. We'd made a little fire and that. And he just looked at me and he says, "Can you feel that it's here? Can you feel it?" I was like, "Yeah." And we knew that there was this thing in the flat. Like, anyway. And also with this guy, I was we were on the beach. It was just him and I, and it was the middle of the night, and we'd had a smoke. We'd smoked a bit of weed, sit on the beach, and we decided we were going to go for a long walk, and we lost track of time, and it got really dark really, really, really quickly. Okay. And out in South Africa, where it's like really quiet, when it's dark, it's freaking pitch black dark. Like you can't see your hand in front of your face because there's just no street lights or anything. It's just sort of very, very quiet beach. No lighting from houses or street lights, nothing. It was really remote, and it was so dark. And he decides he's going to run off and go for a swim in the ocean. I mean, Jesus, this guy was insane in a good way. So he decides he's going to go for a swim, and as soon as he did that, man, I was just surrounded by darkness on my own because I had no idea he was going to run off and do that. So he buggers off into the ocean. And as soon as he did that, I felt the fear rush in. And I'm telling you now, what I saw around me was like thousands of these white, it was just the face, but it was like if someone had taken chalk and sketched, just a white chalk, and sketched like sketches, outlines of these screaming faces with like these tails behind them. Ew, horrible, man. Just like surrounding me, just screaming like that. It was insane. And I just screamed like, geez, I had no idea I could scream that loud. And he obviously, okay, he came straight back out, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry I left you. I mean, I wasn't expecting that to happen. But anyway, and then as we were driving home that night, we were driving on a mountain pass. I mean, South Africa's freaking insane, dude. It really is. Sorry. An owl, like we're driving at decent driving speed on a mountain pass. This massive owl comes down out of nowhere, right? Lands on the bonnet of the car. I mean, the car's moving, right? And this owl lands on the bonnet of the car, wings, stares at us. It was actually really beautiful. It stares at us and then flies off again. I mean, it was just it's mental. Another thing that happened with this guy was, again, we were out in the dunes. We were with a few other friends, and he was doing, what do you call it? You know, when you put your arms out and you spin around, making himself dizzy. I mean, it was the middle of the night. Again, we did this a lot. We went out in nature in the middle of the night. It was quite fun. And then he just passes out. Like, he had no health issues or anything. He just totally passes out. And he was okay after that. And then we decided it was time to like go get something to eat. So we went to like a local cafe that was close to where the dunes were. And we were at the cafe, and then he went to the toilets. And as he was coming out, there's a swing doors, you know, that you get like saloon doors, and he actually passed out again. But I saw his eyes. He just got eye contact with me just before he passed out, and then he just kind of fell, and because he was taller than the doors, it was like those low saloon doors, and he fell and he just collapsed on the floor. And he said he actually he said he died. He said he kind of nearly went there, saw the light and everything, and decided he wasn't ready to go, but like there was absolutely no explanation for it. Yeah. Anyway, other experiences I've had. When I first moved into this house I'm living in now, it's the first time I've actually properly lived in a house in England, where I wasn't in shared accommodation. Flats, or you've got like other people's like energy really close to you, and you've got someone above you, you've got someone below you, you've got someone, there's a lot of like other people's energy. But when I moved into this house, within my first couple of nights of being in here, I had a dream where I saw this house. You know, when on movies they do this time flick thing where, you know, imagine if someone had put a camera on this house and just to pick up the energy of it and all the people and things that had happened in this house all through time, ever since anyone had started living in here, on high speed. But it was all like in black and white. And I felt like the roof kind of opened a bit, and I felt like all the energy that needed to be kind of cleansed. I didn't intentionally cleanse the space. I think I do it subconsciously anyway. Energetically, I cleanse space out of habit. But this dream felt like a flushing of all the stuff that wanted to kind of get out, and it felt like a bit of a celebration as well of what the house had been through. It was really strange. It didn't feel good about it. I mean, it was quite cool actually, because I feel quite connected to this house. It just felt really open. Anyway, and there's that. And I think now I'm feeling like I've shared enough for now. But but other things are coming to me now. But I mean, I could probably sit and talk for freaking ages about this stuff. But it's just to say that I'm talking to you from a point of view as somebody who didn't go out seeking these experiences, okay? And there's a lot of people out there, you need to realize there's a lot of people out there that don't seek out these experiences. It just happens to them, you know? And I'm very, very realistic, practical person. And this is why I have researched this stuff. And it's just a normal part of life, okay? There's a scientific explanation for everything. There's so much more to us as beings. There's so much more to life. There's stuff happening on all different dimensions all the time. There always has been, okay? I know some people see it and experience it, some people don't. There's no right or wrong, but there is actually a good or bad, okay? And you want to focus on keeping yourself feeling cool, so that you keep the cool stuff in your life, you know? But you're strong. We're all very strong, and we're all capable of doing incredibly beautiful and magical things. So if you have any questions about what I've spoken about in the video, you know, feel free to tell me. I'm a total nutcase as well. I don't mind. And if you want any advice on how to deal with stuff like this, or if you've had similar experiences that you'd like to share, get in touch. And it would be great to hear from you and to maybe hear what you think about these experiences. All right, so thank you very much for listening again. Bye.